Okay, so I'm curious what I'm... 3293, you're going to have to be a little more specific, please. Because 3293 writes in on the super text line, and I'm very curious this line of thought. Little L libertarian, bull crap. You're a big R Republican. Libertarians do not support giving up rights for any reasons. Really? That's not true. That's completely not true.
You can murder somebody if you want?
You can murder someone and walk around freely and continue to have all of your rights, 3293? I think you might want to be more specific about what you're saying right now, because you sound like a complete blithering idiot. Little L libertarian, bull crap, you're a big R Republicans. Libertarians do not support giving up rights for any reasons. Okay,
but, hey, this is a good point, though. If you're not a real libertarian, unless somebody's not telling you, you're not a real libertarian.
That's actually true. That's so true. And I've always said that I'm a little L libertarian because of for two reasons. One is that there are certain aspects of the libertarian philosophy of government that I disagree with, primarily dealing with certain foreign policy issues that the libertarians I kind of diverge from. Secondarily, I don't belong to the Libertarian Party because the Libertarian Party sucks. They can't get their crap together. They've had every opportunity over the last 30 years to make inroads and become a viable third party in the United States of America, and they have spit the bit every time. Because they're sad, and sadly, we're watching as the world, and more specifically, the United States of America becomes more libertarian. The United States of America is more libertarian. Even conservatives, that individuals that would describe themselves as conservatives or Republican are more libertarian today than they've ever been. And so many of the pronouncements, and none of you were around when I said them, but some of these pronouncements that I made back in the day when I was 26 years old in Montgomery, Alabama, starting my talk radio career about how things would go 20 years from now, I wish I had the tapes. Because I was right. Murphy was right. Murphy was right. Murphy was right. Anyway, the nation needs to concern itself with those things that the Libertarian Party concerns themselves with, and that is physical, 2 syllables, conservatism. Only spending within our means, and only doing that, which is the government's responsibility. Rooster writes in and says, dang, Matt, you couldn't even make it 28 minutes without yelling. Rooster, when did I say I would try to do that? My loyal P1 listeners come every day for the yelling. Come on, man. Come on now.
And you were so right that I didn't even hit you with the tay-tay about calming down.
Thank you. I am curious what the author of the post means when he says that I'm not a small L libertarian because somehow I don't believe in rights for individuals. I mean, obviously, it's an easy grab to suggest to you that you're absolutely wrong with regard to the idea that you can't be denied your God-given rights for any reason. Obviously, there are plenty of reasons why you would be denied rights. Primarily by engaging in a process by which you deny rights of others and going through the judicial system, and ultimately it is decided by a jury of your peers that you have to be punished as a result of your denial of the rights of other people through force or fraud. Clearly, we can't have any of that. 615-737-9986. Coming back. So the General Assembly is currently debating the rules. I don't know if they're over or not. I don't know if the debate is over or not, because liberal Democrats in the body who consistently claim that they're not getting a voice. By the way, this is hilarious to me. Justin Pearson, Justin Jones, John Ray Clemens, and Gloria Johnson, 4 Democrats, are screaming that they do not have the ability under the rules to make their voices heard to their constituencies and by extension to the entire state of Tennessee. In the meantime, those 4 people that I just mentioned that are screaming that the rules deny the minority a voice, they have spoken more than any other members of the body right now. And it's not even close. As of 10:03 this morning, speaking time, I don't know what this list is from. No, I guess it's from the current General Assembly. Justin Pearson, 3 hours, 43 minutes, and 57 seconds. John Ray Clemens, 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 51 seconds. Justin Jones, 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 26 seconds. Gloria Johnson, 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 45 seconds. So the same Democrats that are screaming that they don't have the ability to speak are speaking more than any of the Republicans who are currently in the supermajority. Secondarily, they're setting up a rules package, and the Democrats are screaming and yelling about the rules package. And look, I'm not here to defend it. I'm here to explain it, and I want to know from you whether or not you support it. Philip writes in and says that I'm going around and round in circles like a little puppy dog on the super text line. He says, I'm just jabbering round and round like a kid who's had too much Mountain Dew. That's every day on the show, by the way. And I'm getting some additional information as to how I am not really a libertarian, which is always good. I love it when people tell me what I really believe because they know better than me, because I'm me and they're them.
Well, see, the reason I know you're not a real libertarian is because you don't tell other people they're not real libertarians. Because if you were a real libertarian, you would tell other libertarians they're not real.
Okay, that makes sense. So if I were to find real libertarians and tell them they're not real libertarians...
You have never once told me I'm not a real libertarian, and that offends me.
Because if I were a real libertarian, we would get into regular arguments about your libertarianism. Yes. Yeah. And also I say small L, and that ticks off the libertarians. But 3449 writes, it's definitely a joke for you to call yourself any kind of libertarian for a million reasons. And then he says, those four have an argument. He's talking about the liberal Democrats that I just mentioned, because it's often that it's true that voices get squashed. Ask Bruce Griffey or Representative Warner or a number of others who get shut down by leadership every year. And this is why you're not in any way a libertarian. Someone fighting for liberty would call out anyone who uses their power to control debate. You just side with whoever isn't a Democrat regardless of their anti-liberty stance. That is, A, not true, and B, let me explain to you what's going on. The body sets the rules, okay? So 3449, hear me clearly. The members of the House of Representatives set the rules for the House of Representatives, and they vote on it. Explain to me how you want to do it differently that accomplishes what you claim you want to accomplish. Now, if you want to argue that they ought to have more than 5 minutes, that's fine. I don't care. But there have to be rules. What the Democrats are arguing is that the rules should change based on what the Democrats want at any given second, at any given moment of any given day. Now, I'm going to get into the voting in committee in just a moment, and I do have a disagreement with leadership on committee votes, which is where this narrative about transparency is coming from. So let's dive into this. The Bullhorn Brigade, and they're joined by a few others like John Ray Clements, they are suggesting that what the Republicans are doing in the General Assembly is anti-democratic, that it doesn't lend itself to giving them a voice. They have just as much voice as anyone else. Are we on the same page there? There are not separate rules in the House of Representatives for Democrats or Republicans. Now, Democrats are in the minority, and oftentimes Democrats don't get their way because Democrats are in the minority. And if you want to get your way in a representative republic, the way you do that is to win elections and become the majority. And if you're in the majority, you get to do what you want to do, and you can tell the minority to pound sand at that point. Until then, shut up and sit down and abide by the rules. It's not hard. I'm not certain exactly how they would want any of this to change because they won't tell us. All they will tell us is that the rules of the House of Representatives are somehow anti-democratic. What we have learned is that they want to change voting practices in committee, and I want to talk with you about that. And I understand this is deep in the weeds on rules, but you're going to hear a lot about this over the next 24, 48 hours, about how the Republicans don't want transparency, and the Republicans are trying to hide the way that they're voting. I think in large part that is untrue, but there is a small area that I would find agreement with some that are suggesting the rules should be changed. Here's how. So it's all about voice votes and how they vote in committee. When a bill gets to the floor of the House of Representatives, they have electronic voting in the House of Representatives, and each member's vote is recorded electronically. So you or I have every opportunity to go and look how your individual representative voted on any measure that goes before the House floor. And obviously that's the way that it should be. Now, I asked a question last evening of several in leadership as to whether or not there are ever any voice votes on the floor. And I was told that there were ceremonial voice votes on the floor. These are often commendations or recognition of individual Tennesseans and whatnot. These are non-controversial measures that are voted on in voice. There are also some procedural measures that happen by voice vote. But voting on any bill on the floor of the House of Representatives is done electronically, and it is a recorded vote. What the leftists are arguing, and David Ritchie, who is a Republican, took this argument up and ran with it. What he was arguing is that you should have roll call votes in committee on everything. Now, oftentimes I lean on Bell as I'm explaining something, and I'm going to do this time too, Bell. I want to make sure that I'm being clear on what I'm explaining. In a committee, Robert's Rules of Order, that's typically what you say when you talk about the rules of a body. But the rules of order indicate that members of a committee, and, sometimes it's a committee of 10, sometimes it's a committee of 20. I think rules has like 26 members on it or something or another. But anytime you're in a committee, there are a lot of measures by which I can take to move debate in different directions. I can offer a motion to table, or I can offer a motion to amend, or I can offer a motion to this. There are motions galore that I can offer as a member of the committee. What Justin Jones and some of the political left want to do is they want to force roll call votes on every single motion in committee. Do you understand how much money that would cost you? Right now, voice votes are allowed in committee. Voice votes on motion and voice votes on getting bills out of committee. More on that in a moment, because I think that's different. If you force a roll call vote, and what a roll call vote means is you have to go through the Bell K.
It's like when they voted on speaker.
Right.
If you watched any of that on C-SPAN.
That's a great example. If you watch that, that's what we're talking about. You go through the entire roll of the committee that you're talking about, and there are unlimited motions that can be brought up. If you have a Democrat that wants to bring a motion and some Democrat wants to second that motion, there are unlimited ways that they could quag the system. And this is what they want to do, I am told. They are trying to turn the regular session into something that lasts until August. Now, if it's up to you to decide, I'm not telling you how to feel about any of this. What I'm telling you is the reality of what will happen if this rule goes through. The Democrats will flood the zone with motions. They will demand a roll call vote on every motion in every committee in the General Assembly. And this legislative session will last until August. And that will cost every taxpaying citizen more money, and it will accomplish nothing. If that is what you want, okay, that's fine. Because some purity conservatives are now suggesting that all of this is about transparency. And here's what I'd say about that. If you want to change the rule, right now, they allow voice votes to get a bill out of committee and to the floor of the House. Once again, this is incredibly weedy, and y'all tell me if it's too deep in the weeds for you. Right now, a voice vote can get a bill to the floor. And a lot of people are suggesting that that's wrong. And I would happen to agree with that. I don't have a problem with a roll call vote moving a bill from committee to the floor. But the problem is that there are different measures by which you could do that. You can table. You can make a motion to table. Is that killing a bill? Is that moving a bill forward? There's a lot of debate going on there. Bottom line is this. If you want to require a roll call vote in order to move a bill from committee to the floor, I don't have a problem with that. Right now, the system is this. And this is the part that I wanted to make sure I'm explaining clearly, Bell. There are recorded votes in the House of Representatives from committee rooms. Here's the way they do it. They do a voice vote. By the way, the sponsor of a bill can call for a roll call vote under the current rules. The 3 members of the committee can call for a roll call vote under the current rules. And the chairman of any committee can call for a roll call vote under the current rules. If the voice vote seems too close to call, the sponsor or any members of the body can demand a roll call vote at that time. And they will get one, presumably by the chairman. So there are ways to get roll call. But every vote that comes out of committee is listed on the House of Representatives website. And here's the way they do that. The prevailing vote, meaning the vote that wins, you are considered a yay vote. You are considered to be on the prevailing side unless you object to the chairman and record your vote as the non-prevailing vote. Okay? That's the way that it currently is. But the upshot is this. If you give the minority, the Democrats, who number, 24 members? I think it's 75 or 76 to 24 right now. If you give them the authority to demand a roll call vote on every single measure in the House of Representatives, the House of Representatives is going to be in session until July. And every day that they're in session, they waste our money. You're right, 3449. The sponsors can request a roll call vote at the time that they present the legislation. I don't understand what you don't understand about what I just said. Well, if they don't ask, and this was Richie's call. So 3449 is demonstrating to me, I don't know. So, yes, 3449 says they won't be in session until July. The Democrats will demand a roll call vote on every measure. And yes, you're right that David Ritchie got his panties in a wad because he said that he was intimidated to ask for a roll call vote. I know exactly what you're talking about, 3449. Ritchie doesn't want to ask for a roll call vote because he doesn't have the damn stones to do so. Well, I expect that you will have the stones to do so. If you need a roll call, ask for a roll call if you're the sponsor of a bill. So that's the weeds on that. If you want to demand a vote of the committee, I don't have a problem with that. Demanding a vote on every motion and every measure, a roll call vote on every motion and every measure within committee, you're quagging the system to the point that you're going to bog it down. If that's what you want, that's fine. If you want that, I'm just telling you what you're going to get. You're going to get a session that lasts until July. Because they have a lot of measures to get out. And the Democrat game plan here, the Justin Jones, David Ritchie game plan. By the way, they came up with this together. Representative Justin Jones and Representative David Ritchie worked together. Prove me wrong on this measure. David Ritchie admitted as much that he talked to Justin Jones about this. And I believe it's a Justin Jones joint effort with Ritchie in order to quag the system. I don't think that Ritchie knows what he's doing, but I most certainly think that he is doing the bidding of Justin Jones and the rest of the Democrats. So if y'all want to get duped by the distinct minority in the General Assembly, have at it. I don't have a problem with that. Secondarily, on the issue of the gallery, and I'm not telling you that I don't have a problem with this either way. And once again, I don't have a problem with roll call votes in committees. I'm telling you what will happen if you have roll call votes on every measure in committee.